Hi, welcome to another episode of Mom Does It All. If you're looking for encouragement, empowerment, and uplifting in motherhood and mompreneurship, this is the show for you. I'm your host, Marta Spurk, triplet mom, certified success coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. In this episode, I'll be talking about the definition of being enough. It's become such a cliche. We see it on hashtags, on t-shirts, but what does it really mean when you say, you are enough, I am enough? Let's get right to it. I always feel so silly talking about the TV shows that I've been watching and all the things that go through my mind as I start analyzing things, but that's just how my brain operates, so bear with me as I tell another tale of things that I start thinking about as I'm watching a show. So a couple weeks ago, we started watching The Vikings, which is this show on the History Channel, but we watch it through Hulu, and I love it. I love it because I have always been fascinated with history. And what's interesting is that I could never really pinpoint why I loved history so much, because it's not really a field that I went into. Although whatever field you decide to go with, career-wise, you always have to study the history of that. So it's always involved somehow. But especially when you talk about studying languages, you kind of have to understand the origin of things and how people started communicating, and even with interpretation. When I was studying translation and how it all started, centuries and centuries ago, when they found the stones and the Bible, it all started with the Bible and the writing and everything. History is always involved, but I could never really pinpoint why I'm so fascinated by it. And then recently, because of, my coaching work and studying more of neuroscience and how our brain operates, I finally had this huge light bulb moment of the reason why I love history so much. It's because it allows me to be grateful for where I am right now in life. Because when you look at what humanity has gone through, especially talking about, early centuries, like 900, after Christ, which is around the time that the Vikings, the story of the Vikings, at least for the show, is, you see how crazy conditions they used to live in. And, especially when you talk about the religions and them meeting Christianity and being like, these people are crazy. What do they believe in? What is this? And to think about how far we've come in having houses and having, cars and having a whole community of people that respects each other. We're not just walking out in the streets and killing each other for the most part, because that's what they did back in the day. And it just makes me feel so grateful. And with all the gratitude talk that I'm always all about the gratitude, but especially after these few episodes that I had with Flavia Kalina on the show, and having someone that has been in business and has so much experience talking about the importance that gratitude has had in her life to reach what she has already reached, it made me start thinking about all of these things, about how we don't achieve more because we're really ungrateful. When you say you have to be grateful for your house and you have to be grateful for your car, it just sounds so small and silly, but it is true. When you think about how far humanity has come, you have to be so grateful for what you have. You have to be so grateful for how blessed you are to be living in a time such as right now. And I'm sure those people also had things to be grateful for too. But I'm just saying, when you look back into history, you see how humans have evolved, and we're all learning from each other's mistakes. Where you are right now in your life, in your city, in your country, it's a result of the hard work and the mistakes that so many human beings made. Isn't that crazy to think about? And then you think about humanity in general, but you think about your family. I mean, where you are right now is because of what the hard work of your parents or whoever brought you up, and even your own hard work. And so when you think about gratitude being kind of silly and maybe too simple, which it is simple, but you think about how complex that is, because there's so much to be grateful for where you are right now. Even if you can't find things to be grateful for immediately because of your parents or because of yourself, think about humanity. And when you think about not being able to reach your dreams and to go farther than you are right now. Think about how far humanity has come. I mean, for us to even have electricity in our houses, let's just go crazy here for a little bit. People had to test this out. Many people died, probably, trying to figure out how things work. And what privilege do we have right now that all these other people before us figured all of these things out so that you can have the life you have right now? Many people dedicated their entire lives to these things, to creating cars, to building roads for you and bridges and tunnels. Like, you don't have to do any of this right now. You just take advantage of all of this. So think about that for a second, and how gratitude should be a lot more present in our lives in so many different ways. And this leads me to talk about more specifically about learning from people's failures and successes. Because one thing that I started talking about early on in the podcast, one of the very first solo episodes that I did after I launched the podcast, was titled, I don't know what I'm doing. And no mom knows what she's doing for the most part. And this is true for anything in life, even if you're talking about business. Nobody really knows what they're doing, because here on this earth, it's all trial and error. We're all kind of just learning as we go. It's the only way that life happens. Because, for example, we all know this, you go to college and you graduate and you think you're ready for the world, but you're really not. Or even when you think about graduating high school and it's like, I've got everything figured out. I'm 18. And no, you're a child. You know nothing. And then how many times throughout life you go through this process of, I know nothing. I have no idea what's even going on. What am I doing with my life? Like, we have these moments throughout life because we're just figuring things out. And that's where gratitude is important too. And also humility, for you to be able to learn from other people and ask for help. And we're so afraid as human beings to do that because for some reason, we think we need to pretend like we know everything when really no one knows anything. Even the people that are farther along, super successful, that have, businesses and successful businesses, or even happy families, well-established families, or whatever it is that you want to call that is success or fulfillment, they're still figuring stuff out. They still have insecurities. They still have fears. And I love so much what Flavia said, because, even having 6 million subscribers on YouTube, granted, she worked hard for 10 years for this. She says, right now I'm in a different point in my business, and sometimes I wonder, can I keep this up? What have I done to deserve this? This is just something that humans have within. So I just wanted to encourage you not to look at anybody and think that if you were them, you would be happy. If you did exactly what somebody else did, then life would be amazing. There is no such thing. You are still going to have the lows. You're still going to doubt yourself. So it's all a matter of you understanding your journey, being grateful for your journey, and keep moving. The people that have succeeded were the ones that didn't stop. They just kept on moving. And then the ones that came after them carried that thing on, especially when you think about inventions, right? Maybe someone that started figuring things out in terms of electricity. And I don't know, I'm just saying this because the light is on here where I am. So I would just start thinking about this. Like, maybe the first person that started realizing this wasn't the one that actually invented everything and discovered how it all worked, but somebody else. That's how it is in history. You have the apprentices, right? And they kind of take on the master's work and they keep developing. This is what humanity is, guys. We just keep building upon other people's discoveries, failures, and successes. So don't be discouraged about where you are right now. If anything, be so grateful and so proud, because you are carrying something on with your life. You're trying things out. You're figuring it out, and you're going to pass this on to your kids and to your family eventually. And one of the reasons why I was even thinking about this is because, not only because of Flavia, but recently, a mom told me, we were talking about Instagram growth and growing your account, growing your following, and she was super excited because she had gained many followers. She'd been working with different strategies, And she says, sometimes I feel like I don't even want to ask anybody questions because I don't want to sound dumb. And I just, I'm such a beginner and I don't know what I'm doing. And then I told her, hey, no one knows what they're doing. And I just wanted to give you this message right there, right here, to say, whether it is that you're struggling with motherhood or with your business or with your marriage, like no one really knows 100%. You're just figuring it out, and it's not luck too, because lots of people just attribute it to luck or to just being blessed from above. And it's like, no, there's hard work involved and things that you're not seeing. So that's why it's easier for you to assume that it's luck, because you don't want to think that they had to work hard for it, because it's just this magical idea that some people have it easier than others. And it's just not true. Okay, we're all equal in some sense. The only difference is that some people don't give up, right? And those are the ones that end up being successful, and those are the ones that we end up seeing and hearing about, but it's not because they're lucky. They just continue on. And also to encourage you to ask questions, to encourage you to ask for help, because the reason why we don't ask for help, even if we say, I'm afraid of sounding dumb, is a lot of pride, right? Instead of being humble to say, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. And so don't be afraid to ask for help, because like I said, everyone's just testing and making mistakes, but some people may be farther along because they haven't given up, so they can be a great resource to you. And this leads me to the actual point of this episode, because it's something else that I have been thinking about, which is the meaning of the cliche, you are enough. And I've been thinking a lot about this, especially as I'm thinking about gratitude, because this is something that we see a lot. And like many things that you see a lot, it ends up losing its true meaning. And you don't even know what it means anymore. You just repeat it because it's the hashtag, right? Be enough. Or you see it on t-shirts. You are enough. You are enough. Just remind yourself that you are enough. And what does that even mean? I feel like if you don't really understand the meaning of that, even if you repeat that to yourself, I am enough, it'll probably not have the same weight and the importance that it should have. And I believe that a lot of it has to do with gratitude. So being enough is being grateful, being aware first, and then being grateful and happy with what you are, with what you have, and with what you're doing right now, and not comparing yourself with others or thinking that you need to do what that other person is doing to be better or to be enough. And the reason why this is so tricky and why we need this reminder always that we are enough as we are right now is because there is a very fine line between being happy with what you are right now and what you have right now, but still wanting more. Usually what happens is that we get so anxious for the more that we forget the now. And then we're not living the now, we're hating the now, because we think that if we get that next thing, that's going to bring us the happiness. But how in the world can you look forward to something that's in the future, yet still be grateful for what you have and what you are right now? It's tricky. But it is possible. And that's where even the whole situation of like weight loss comes into play. That you need to love your body right now as it is, but you can still want to improve. How can you love a body that is overweight right now and still want to lose weight? It seems like the two can't go hand in hand, when in reality they can. It's just a matter of you finding that place of self-worth without getting so much attached to the results and to the outcome. And that's another thing too that I have been learning, especially with the Happy Mommy course that I've put together, and I have been loving working with these ladies, is that you can want something, but you can also detach yourself to that outcome and to how that is going to happen. And that's something that I have been applying a lot to me and my business. I have a vision of what I want to be doing and being in front of women and encouraging them. And it is very stressful not knowing what that looks like and where I'm going to be and how I'm going to do that. And it's so easy for you to get caught up in, I am not doing that yet. I'm not making all that money yet. I'm not in front of billions yet. And so life is not so cool right now. And I have been realizing that the less I worry about when that's going to happen and how that's going to happen and what that's going to look like, the happier I will be in this present moment, and the easier those things are going to come into place and happen to me. And isn't that crazy? Because that's what's so hard for us, because when we say, I'm usually we don't say I'm looking forward to it. We say I'm so anxious. I'm so anxious to do that. And when you are anxious, this anxiety means I don't like where I am right now. And so I'm going to hate right now until I get that one thing. But guess what? Once you get that one thing, you're not going to like it either, because you're going to be looking into the next thing. And then life is just going to be a series of disappointments, because it's never the thing. Whereas if you decide that today, right now, what you have, who you are, is the thing, then you already have that foundation of that fulfillment with who you are right now. And you're not so worried about how, where, and when the other things that you still want for you are going to happen. And they're actually going to come to you a lot easier, if that makes any sense. But I hope it does. I hope I explained it right, because this is like what's been in my mind and in my heart so much. The importance of really appreciating with all your heart what you have right now. And this even gives me chills. And that's why I brought this idea of history into this episode, for you to think about how many things you can be grateful for when you look back in history into all humanity has achieved until right now, meaning you can achieve a lot more. It took someone in the past to think further than their time to reach certain things, and this is what you have to do too. It's possible, because look how far we've come as human beings. So here's the other thing, and this is what we work on in the Happy Mommy as well. This is like the second part of the course, is you being proud of how far you've come and knowing that if others have done it, you can do it too, because it's just a matter of you not giving up. So it's being present in the moment and loving what you have right now, being grateful for the past and everything that you have accomplished, and also being very proud that you have already done so much, and that's proof that you can achieve even more. And one last thing that I wanted to say, because I am so big in empowering moms, is what I've been realizing, that the only way you can truly feel empowered is when you take responsibility for what's going on in your life. So when you start taking a look at your past, the things that you have already accomplished, the things that you can be grateful for, and how you have played an active role in these things, you're actually taking responsibility for your own life and for what you want your future to look like. And that's empowering, because you're not expecting anyone to do the work for you. You're not hoping that the universe is just going to drop amazing blessings on you. You are grateful for everything that has happened, but you know that you can create your future if you just remain present in the present and excited about what is going on. So empowerment really is taking responsibility for your own life, for your own happiness. And that's why I'm so passionate about the Happy Mommy, because it is really giving these women this power of, you're in control of your life. You're in control of your future, but you just have to realize that you already have everything that you need inside of you. It's not outside. It's not someone, and it's not a thing. It's already in there. You already have all the power to do anything that you want to do, because you are already doing it. You are amazing right now. And understanding that right now is what's going to give you the possibility, the opportunity, and the strength to achieve even more. Ooh, I love this. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I just love going deep and just having these realizations and these thoughts, and I hope this encourages you today. Thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget to connect with me. I've been getting lots of questions from moms, things that I haven't shared before about my life and triplets, and just also motivational stuff, asking for advice. So connect with me, ask any questions that you may have, and I would love to make an episode out of it. You can send me an email at contact at martasburke.coach or just on social media as well. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, bye.